So let's go to the next slide.
Oh, yeah. Let's move this one.
And we've got a lot of great features to talk about for Salesforce Files in Summer 15. Kind of in categories, we're going to talk about enhancements to Files Connect, which is a really exciting product. Enhancements to Salesforce Files Sync, which makes our lives so much easier. Enhancements to Salesforce CRM content libraries, which are critical for managing and organizing your company's certified content. And then some other improvements to the sharing and collaborative experience and some back-end and limit increases that people are always, especially admins, are always happy to get. So before we do that, though, I want to talk a bit about what we're trying to accomplish with Salesforce Files. And I think everyone out there knows that there are a lot of issues around file management. So files are often disconnected from business processes. You can't get access to the file you need at the time you need it. You have insecure big files going back and forth in emails with names like, my document, final version 5, et cetera, .docx. And all of that just creates a real headache, and it's a huge productivity waster. And so we're solving this problem with this triad of concepts. Any file, which means that you can work with any file you need to, whether it's a native Salesforce file or in an external repository like SharePoint or Google Drive, and that's through our Files Connect product. Any audience, which means you can do that crucial collaboration with your customers, your partners, or even your employees in a community. So that's really about our communities product working with files. And then on any device. So that means that wherever you are, you can get access to the file you need, latest version at the moment you need it, on your iPad for a presentation, on your phone, et cetera. And of course on your desktop using Salesforce Files Sync. Now, if you put these three together, what you really accomplish is you enable this flow that you see at the bottom. You allow a file to move through the entire business process. So you can create it and enhance it using Files Sync and Files Connect. You can do that all in the collaborative environment of the feed, all right? You can work with somebody to or more than a few people to produce that perfect deck. You can then check that deck into a protected Salesforce CRM library. That's a new feature we're going to look at. So it's now official content. It's under control. Right? And you can then share that file back out into the world and allow it to be discovered either manually or automatically, again, using the system of intelligence, by the people who need that file to get their work done, right? To close a deal, an opportunity, to close a case, and all within the flow of business, right? You don't have to integrate all these messy third-party silos of content. Some are in the cloud, some are on-premise. All this happens in the flow of business.
Fantastic.
I think we were using this product today, weren't we?
Hey.
Lucky us, right?
OK, so let's take a look at our demo where we'll see our new features and some great existing ones as well. So in our first vignette, we're going to be working with Erica, who is a sales VP at Pacifica. Now notice we're changing our company. We are no longer Northern Trails. We are now Pacifica, which makes and sells electronic products. And they sell a lot of their products, as often is the case, through channel partners, channel resellers. So Erica and Vincent are going to be doing some collaboration within the internal org to produce some collateral, right, using a bunch of our new features. And then we're also going to see a second vignette with James Preston, who's one of our channel partners that I just mentioned, who resells Pacifica's technology. And that's going to take place in a partner community. OK, so let's go to the browser and our demo org. OK, so we are logged into Salesforce as Erica, our sales VP. And first thing in the morning, she sees that she has a post from her collaborator, Vincent. Hey, here's my first draft of this new first call deck for PowerBlast. So PowerBlast is this new line of really high fidelity headphones that Pacifica is selling. And we're super excited to get this on the market. Right? So he's saying, Erica, hey, I need you to go ahead and look at this deck and improve it, update it. And so already we've started a collaborative flow here, and you can see how files are already in the flow of business. So the first thing that Erica is going to do is she's going to click Sync. Okay? Now this button is not new, but what is new in Summer 15 is that as soon as I click Sync, I get to choose which folder in my desktop, in my Salesforce Files desktop folder, I want to sync this file to. So since this has to do with sales, I'm going to sync it to the sales folder. And as soon as I do that, you can see up here at the top, the Salesforce Files tray icon is going to start blinking and syncing. And that file is going to be coming down to my desktop so I can work on it, just like that. It's really cool. All right, now if I click on this, we can see all of the features we expect from an enterprise class file sync product. And if I click here, I can actually go right to Finder or Windows Explorer and open the Salesforce Files folder where all of my synced files and folders are. Now I can see this file has faithfully synced down, okay, and I need to edit it. So I'm just going to click it, and it opens in PowerPoint. And I can do a native edit in place on the desktop. I can also look through this and see this looks great. Vinny's done a really good job. He's got a good eye for color. All right, and here are the slides that I need to fill in. All right, so I'm simply going to add the image for this third slide, which I happen to have. Wow, look at that frequency response of the headphones, man. I can't wait to get a pair of these on, right? So I'm going to save this, and it's going to blink and sync, and that file is going to go back up to the cloud. All right, and so now everywhere in Chatter where that file is posted, you have the latest version. We're not done. So I'm going to come back here to Finder or Windows Explorer, and using a right click, I'm actually going to choose to share that file with a Chatter group. Okay? So these share options in the right click menu are not new, but they're a bit hidden and they're really, really cool. So I urge you to check those out. But what is new is that if I choose to share this file with a group, so first of all, I want to move this conversation about this file into a more appropriate venue than just the news feed. All right? So I'm going to move it into this marketing collaboration, and I can actually @mention people inside this box, right, which you couldn't do before.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so I have to run out, unfortunately. So in one fell swoop, I'm going to move this into the group, and I'm going to ask Vincent to go ahead and finish this thing up. All right? And then just to make sure everything's good, I can click through to the group. All right, and now we're collaborating again in the flow of business in this group where, well, our marketing collaboration takes place. So now just to make sure everything's good, I'm going to click on this. Here's our familiar detail page. We can see the graphic I added. The previews look great. Right? Importantly, we have version control. So I can see his original version and the one I just uploaded. Right? And so everything's good, so I'm satisfied. So I'm going to return back to the feed. And you know, I just realized something while looking at that file. I asked him to do slide 4, but the information he needs to do slide 4 is actually located in Google Drive. Now, we know, I mean, obviously we want companies to use Salesforce files. We think it's fantastic. But we know that companies have made big investments in external repositories. And so our customers said to us, we want you to seamlessly integrate those into Salesforce. And we said, all right, it'll take a couple of weeks. Anyways, 2 years and an acquisition later, we now have an industry-unique product called Files Connect, which allows you to make files in external repositories, specifically SharePoint 2010 and 2013 on-premise, SharePoint Online, Microsoft OneDrive for Business, and now, in summer, Google Drive. Right? Yeah, that's new.
That's awesome.
Make these social and mobile in the flow of business. So I'm going to say, here is the spec, because he needs to add a text spec. And look, here I have my whole world of files, my collaborative files, my library files, which we'll look at in a bit, and my files connected files. So right here in Salesforce, I'm going to drill down into my Google Drive account. We do this all the time at work. And here in this folder, I've got the technical specs that we need to complete that Power Blast deck. All right, so I'm going to comment that. And now I'm not going to log in as Vincent, but he'd be seeing the same feed post. And now just right here in the flow, he can just click that, and it's going to take him right to Google Drive, and he sees. And he's probably, if he's smart, he's synced that file as well. And so now he can just copy and paste this into the PowerPoint. He can brand it, and he's going to be done. Right?
Great.
It's fantastic.
So, now remember,
awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now remember, Erica had to run out, so let's switch over to the phone, and let's switch over to Salesforce One Mobile so she can keep being productive while she's on the go. All right, so she's gonna, she's on the bus, she's checking her phone, she's, right, and so she's nervous that Vincent is going to be able to complete this deck because if he doesn't, she needs to do something with it tomorrow morning, and if he doesn't complete it, she's going to have to, bug him all afternoon and evening. So fortunately, she gets a notification from him that the deck's been completed, and so she goes to the feed and she taps on it. And right there on the bus, let's turn the phone so you can take advantage of the, yeah, maybe the portrait lock's on.
Yeah, let's
right?
leave it in portrait.
Yeah, and there we go. So at the bottom, he's taken those schematics, he's branded it, and he's pasted it into the deck, saved it, and synced it back up. Now, just in case you're thinking I was tricky here, I was not actually. While we were switching to the phone, I actually made that edit on my desktop
I can
in
prove
real
that.
time. Yeah, so Adrian can swear to that.
David's also on the bus right now.
Exactly. Okay, so this is great. So Erica can relax. She gets a good night's sleep. She comes in the morning, and now she's going to continue her work. All right, so let's go back to the browser. Okay. All right, so what Erica's going to do now, she's satisfied that this deck is good, right? She can page through it. She can see all the slides. Look at that. It looks fantastic. All right. Now, this has been produced collaboratively. Remember our flow, sync, connect, files connect, collaborate? We did all that, and we have a great deck. It's ready to go out into the world and help us close business. All right. So with one click, I'm going to share this into a managed Salesforce CRM content library. Now, I have to admit, up until now, this flow required you to download the file and re-upload it to the library. It certainly worked, but it was not the most efficient thing in the world. And what we've done now is with one click, I can share this file to a library.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
that's
we're
huge.
really excited about this. It just ties the products together, which is one of our goals.
Yeah.
And it enables that flow that you saw. So this message is telling us something good, which is once I check the file into the library, it's going to be protected, which means that people who had rights to access it only in Chatter will now only be able to view it, so they can't go and mess around with it and upload a new incorrect version, right? And only people who are members of that library, which is very carefully controlled, can access it. So here's our rich library check-in screen, so I can add a description. I can select a library. This is for channel sales in US and Canada. That's what UScan is, all right? I can add tags, so maybe this is for our silver channel partners. All right. And now, this is something actually from Spring, but I want to call it out. Files now have record types, just like any other Salesforce object, with their own page layouts. So I can say this is a sales asset, and it's product collateral, and it's approved for external use, and I can put a review date on it, and I can even relate it to a marketing campaign. Okay. So now I'm going to publish that. Okay. And I can see that it's been added to this library. Vincent can now, only if he's a member of the library can he continue to update it, which is what I want. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the library. And now we're in Salesforce CRM content, which is our managed content solution, which is hugely critical for managing your company's official content and using it in your flow of business to close deals and cases. So we're very excited to be able to make enhancements to this. So let's go take a look at all of the content in this US Canada library. So I have really rich search functionality here. So if Erica wants to find all of the files related to Power Blast, she can search for headphones. She can use our faceted search to narrow down who the authors are. So here's the one. Remember, Vincent started this deck, even though Erica updated it, so he's the author. All right. So really powerful functionality there. And the big new thing is being able to check it into library. Now, there's actually something else which is new, which you can also now, in Summer, you can sync library files, individual library files. And if you think about it, remember that this file was synced before I checked it into a library, and it's still synced, right? And that would not have been possible before. And the reason it's possible is now it's permissible to sync library files. Okay, so Erica has now completed her work, but she's kind of had a brainstorm. As she was working on this deck, it came to her that this would be really, really helpful for this particular opportunity, which is being worked on by a channel partner, James Preston, who we're going to meet shortly. All right, to close this opportunity to sell 20,000 of these Power Blast headphones to a retail outlet called Audio Maniacs. So just as easily she collaborates with Vincent internally, with a simple @mention, she's going to collaborate with James Preston externally. Whoops, Salesforce is protecting me here. It's letting me know that he can't see this because he's external until I set it to be so. All right, this deck will help move this deal. Okay, so now I'm going to go and I'm going to select a file, and I just click on that library. There it is at the top, this beautiful new piece of certified content that we just checked into the library. So I'm going to share that. Okay, and that is going to end Erica's job for now, and we're now going to move over to our channel reseller, James. James gets a notification that he has a post. He comes here and he logs in, and he winds up on the home of Pacifica's beautiful branded partner channel reseller community. So first of all, take a look at this. The design is responsive, it's customized. you have all of the information you need to be an effective channel reseller, critical content, great events, your status, top deals, the ability to quick create leads, so I could just pump in that lead I just got at a trade show and submit it for approval. So I can see my leads here. I can see leads that have been approved, right? I can see my top opportunities, and I can even see my feed, right? And so here's that feed post from Erica saying, hey, this is going to help move this deal. And now I'm so excited because this is a new product line, huge opportunity, and now I have what I need to close it. Now, if I just wanted to see what's available, I can get the same view of content that Erica had, except now, look, I only see the channel sales US-Canada library. I don't see EMEA or any other libraries because they haven't been shared with me. I have not been made a member of those libraries because it's not appropriate. Right? So now I can also finally go to that Audio Maniacs opportunity, and I can take a look here, and I can see the file, and I can click on it and see the same great detail page. I can look through it. Right? Now, I want to show you something. Remember that when Erica checked this file in, right, she added a bunch of metadata. I'm not seeing some of that metadata, and that is Salesforce's enterprise class security, specifically the page layouts that I mentioned before. I'm seeing a different page layout for that file, so I'm not seeing fields that are only appropriate for internal users. So really powerful feature on files.
Wow.
Yeah, this is cool. Right. Finally, I'm going to go back to this opportunity, and I'm like, okay, this is really going to help me close this deal. So I can say at Erica, this is great. Thanks. All right, so she knows that I've got it. But I want even more collateral. And so I'm actually going to scroll down, and here I have installed a great application which was developed internally. It's in the App Exchange, and it's called Relevant Content. And what Relevant Content does, and this is the system of intelligence at work, is it actually takes certain fields up here that the admin has chosen, and it forms a search query, and it automatically, without you having to do anything, returns other relevant content, images for Power Blast, sales statistics, everything I need to help close this opportunity.
Wow.
Right? And so you've really seen how that flow works from sync, collaborate, organize. I've just discovered this. It was shared with me. I discovered it. We've got system of intelligence recommending things. We've got my colleagues giving me things in the feed. And it all takes place within the flow of business without the need to integrate a single third-party system. Now, of course, with Files Connect, you can, but when you do, you're still working in the flow of business.
Wow.
So we're almost done. We're actually done with that vignette. I actually want to go back to the phone, and I want to end with one last vignette. So as you guys know, at Dreamforce last year, Salesforce announced a partnership with Microsoft, which is very exciting because it allows our productivity apps to work together, and this is starting to come to fruition. And so here we have Salesforce One, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go down to Files. So we've got our social information at the top, we've got our business information here. I'm going to go to Files, and I'm going to tap on my file filter, and look at that. On Salesforce One, I have the same external sources that we saw on the desktop. Right? So across our UIs, truly any device, really, any file, any device. And now I'm going to tap on SharePoint Marketing, right? And I'm going to drill down, because I know I've got a little more work to do. There's actually a technical reference document for Power Blast that I need to work on. I need to make sure that it's correct. So I'm going to tap on that, and I'm live browsing an external file, that in this case, from SharePoint, SharePoint Online. All right. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, you know, there's a mistake here. This needs to be used in like 10 minutes from now, and there's a mistake. So I'm going to tap on this little Word icon, and what you're seeing here is that we've built integration with Office Mobile, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. Right?
That's
so
exciting.
Yeah, I love doing
I
this.
love it.
Yeah.
On the go, and you get to work on your file.
We call this swizzling. So you swizzle to Office, right? And then what I would do is I would edit the file, I would save it, and I would swizzle right back to Salesforce, right? And so I would finish editing that file, I would swizzle, there'd actually be an icon that would take me right back to Salesforce. I wouldn't even have to go to the home screen, and then the file would be edited, and I would be ready to go.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So this is really cool. This is going to be in version 7.3 of Salesforce One, which is releasing at the end of July.
Okay.
And of course, you need to have Microsoft Office Mobile installed. So that ends the demo. I'd like to go back to the slides and just finish up.
I think what's great about what you're showing and what Adrian showed is that there's integration with all the products that we've worked on, and we work really hard in the Community Cloud to make sure that all our roadmaps are in sync and that we're all working toward the same goal, which is to make collaboration around business objects really easy.
Yeah.
And we've seen examples of that across all three of these products.
Yeah.
Because we always listen to our customers and try to deliver what they're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah, for example, I loved how in the customer community, you were able to respond to issues that were resulting from this trend in aggressive biking, right, and bent wheels.
Yeah.
And then in the same system, you could react to that and collaborate to produce a new and better product.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's just look at some of the additional features for files. So sync, we have a beta of managed version. So if you really want to use sync, but you need a managed version, admins out there, this should be good news for you. You can now sync up to 10,000 files in your Salesforce Files sync folder. More than enough for me, certainly. Files Connect, some enterprise hardening, such as the ability to customize which sources people see. And you can also customize the fields that appear in global search results. And content deliveries, if you use this feature, which is great for transmitting content, password-protected links, we've increased your bandwidth that you can use per 24-hour period by a factor of 10. Right. And finally, just to recap, right. So we've shown you great new features across all of these products. So communities, you've got great brandability and customizability with clicks, not code. With feeds, you have action links, the ability to let users do incredibly important things from the feed. You've got targeted recommendations, which are going to get even smarter, as Michael was talking about earlier. In files, we saw enhancements to Files Connect, enterprise hardening for Files Connect and Sync, which are going to continue, further tightening between our different products so that it's just one big, extremely efficient system. And then, of course, these all work together to allow you to get your job done efficiently, securely, and in a trusted manner. And so I will just end on some additional resources. Our Twitter account, success.salesforce.com, always hugely useful, gets responded to really quickly. And please read the release notes if you haven't, because I believe for everything we've talked about, there's even a few more things that we weren't able to cover.
Yeah, and that Community Cloud Twitter handle is brand new, so please do use it, and we'll be monitoring it in addition to the others.
Yeah. So wow, I mean, you guys have shown a world of improvements, both in terms of feature functionality and just in general user experience. I mean, I'm seeing things that are really going to impact me, but I'm really curious as to what the overall impression from our customers is. Elna, what are you seeing online?
Well, definitely a lot of fans of how managing files is just getting so much easier no matter where they live. And just to review, if you could just name what are the 3 files-related feature sets that we're talking about?
Yes, just broadly. So we made enhancements to Files Sync, enhancements to Files Connect. I talked about both of those. Ability to choose your folder for sync. Google Drive is the big one for Connect. So Files Sync, Files Connect. A few very important enhancements to Salesforce CRM content libraries, right? So the ability to share into a library from Chatter, the ability to sync a library file. Enhancements to just general file sharing, so I could @mention people from that group share dialog. And then increases to limits and enterprise hardening for the product.
Now wait, did you say you can have record types and page layouts for files and actually control what people can see on the file?
Yes, exactly. They work like other objects now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
that's actually was in spring, but I don't think a lot of people don't know about it, and so that's why I highlighted it.
Yeah, good to know. I didn't know about that yet today either. And then there's one question a little bit more about the relevant content feature and how that actually works. Just a little more explanation would be great.
Sure. So I don't know all of the nitty-gritty details about the magic that goes on, but basically the admin specifies fields in the opportunity that are important, that contain keywords. And then relevant content takes those and it composes a search query.
Yeah.
Right? And it goes and it hits our search index, which is has a lot of rich information indexed about each file. And then it uses weighting and returns the, well, relevant content based on that search query.
Excellent.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
I think I need to go swizzle.
Yes.
I think we all do.
It's fun to swizzle on your iPhone.
All right, great. Elna, any very last questions or comments from the crowd?
Well, do we have time for one more question?
One more.
All right. To sync a file in the library, do you use the Files UI or the Library UI?
Great question. You have to use the Files UI currently. If the file's already been shared into Chatter, that's easy. You just click on it. If it hasn't, it's still possible. And I can respond to that more offline.